Twitch, so let me do that now. 6. I also need to quickly tweet out this, like that, and drop it in my Telegram as well. And then we're all caught up. There we go. Okay. My secondary machine was just rebooting, but because for some reason the display driver crashed there, and I always open up the stream on the secondary monitor to make sure that I can see everything. So that's that. Now I need to update. Did I change it? Day 6 Trash Compactor is the name for the stream. So, okay, that is updated. Okay, Amarte says, hi Nick, hope you got some rest. Yeah, I got a few hours of sleep, thank you. Nice to see you. I hope you had a good day as well. Let me just close all but this and then open twitch.tv. So I can have my stream monitor on the side here. Should probably go into moderator modus as well, like that. Okay, I can close that, and then I pull up my stream on YouTube here as well, and then everything should be fine. Okay, cool. Yeah, yesterday wasn't the best. It was a long day with lots of stuff that happened, so I'm glad I got to reset, but it was really late. It was like, actually in my stream preview there, I'm happy that I put it up in the second screen because I can show you here in my Twitch stream manager, it says it's offline, so that's great. Nice going, Twitch. And that's why I always pull it up in the second screen to make sure that I can monitor. Marta says, yeah, being lazy the whole day, just taking care of the house. Yeah, that needs to happen as well. Yeah, I wound up in bed at 2:30 last night because I still needed to wrap up some gifts and write a poem for today's festivities. So yeah, it was a long day, and then I got up fairly early again, but I'm okay. I just made the thumbnail. I haven't looked at it yet, but we still need to do, because you can see here 9 stars, I still need to do part 2 for yesterday. And after seeing everybody's code, it was clear to me what the solutions should be. So I think I'll start by just coding up that part and finishing off day 5 part 2 to make sure that we finish that before we do day 6. Hey Sanko Software, nice to have you in chat on YouTube. It's great to see you. Saw you yesterday as well. I hope you're having a nice time. So yeah, I think we should probably just dive into it. Let me, first of all, before I do this, let's just commit my non-working code just for reference. Is there anything in here that shouldn't be there? No, everything is there. These are all the benchmarks. So this is added benchmark entry points plus day 5. Part 1 works, part 2 doesn't. We'll take a better approach for part 2. Okay, commit, push. Sanko Software says he's having a nice day and they're just coding as well. So, are you making anything special? Feel free to share some of the things that you're working on. It's always nice to see what everybody's doing. So for now, there's so much nonsense in there. Let's clean up that part. Part 1 was fine. Let's just get rid of all of this code for now. Boom. What's in here? We can also get rid of all of this code. And basically, we start fresh. So, looking yesterday, the basic approach is... Sanko says, I'm working on a trivia Discord. That's fun. Oh, bring it to my Discord when it's done. We can have some trivia there. That'll be fun. I like that. I really like 30 Seconds. I don't know if you know that game. That's one of my favorite games. Just to like describe something and have somebody else guess it. Or Codenames. If you know that game, like in a physical game, that's even better. If you're not familiar with it, like code names, you have a grid of words. It's like 8 wide, 4 or 5 high, and then there's things you need to hit and things you don't need to hit, and then you need to describe something to get them together and make the other person guess. It's such a fun game. If you don't know, let me see. Code names board game. Sorry for tangenting, but like this game, it's so much fun if you're not familiar with it. When you pull something off here, and like the whole thing is you have also a grid of words, and then this is like the thing. The green ones are the ones you need to hit, and the black ones, if they hit it, you get disqualified. So you need to find a way to tie up multiple of those green squares by describing it with 1 or 2 words. I think 2 words mostly, without people guessing the bad ones. And that's like, when that works, it's such a great feeling. It's so much fun. But yeah, let's finish day 5, part 2. So the basic approach is make sure the ranges are sorted by start. Keep the range open until you find a new one that doesn't overlap. If they do overlap, max the end of the range. Update the open range. This is basically what we're going to code. Sanko says, sounds fun. Yeah, it really is a lot of fun. Especially if you played with people that you know fairly well, so you're in tune to another. You can make these crazy descriptions of stuff that other people have, like, how did you get that? And that just becomes really fun. When you could pull off some like 3, 4 or 5 words with just a good description, making sure you don't hit the other side. It's so much fun. I can't recommend it enough. But it only works well with people that you know fairly well, because if you're not familiar with each other enough, it gets really hard to get the right prediction or the right words there. So yeah, let's code this. We already have the thing sorted, so that's fine. The distinct doesn't need to be here, but it's also not bad that it's there. So what we need to do is, Amartya says, been so long since I played any physical game other than chess. We started playing with my daughter not so long ago, but other than that, years. Ah man, playing board games can be so much fun. I don't do it enough as well, but it can be so much fun. I prefer doing stuff with physical pieces over digital games. Digital games can be fun, but nothing beats playing a good board game. So yeah, we do var open range is parsed ranges 0. Okay, and now we do for each. Now we can do int I is 0. Actually, I is 1. I smaller. Parsed ranges of count. This we can do explicit type here. Open range next. So we do next is parsed at ranges I. Then you do if next dot from is smaller than or equal, probably. Open range dot 2. Then we do open range dot 2 is math dot max next dot 2 open range dot 2. Right. Else now we can commit current open range is finalized, add it up and move on. So now we can do p2 plus equals open range dot 2 minus open range dot from plus 1 UL. And then we do open open range equals next. And now we do the same here. The final one just adds it, and I think this one should be the answer already. So let's see, do we have the test version? Let's first do test is true. See if the idea is correct. Sure, that works. That doesn't mean anything. Let's see if we get a value that matches between all the other things that we expect here. Okay. Let's see. We get a value and it's lower than the last one. Oh, we were so close. If this is correct, we were 12 off, 15 off. So let's see. Woo! Got it. Okay, nice. I'm glad, because after seeing a bunch of the code, I was like, I don't even think I need to do anything other than this. So I think this is an improvement over most of the code that I've seen still, because I don't actually record any of the ranges anymore. I don't do any last lookups, etc. So I'm happy that I at least found a way to make it a bit special. So yeah, I can be happy with this, I think. Haha. No. If only I had that clarity yesterday. But I just didn't have the proper way. I didn't have the way to deal with ranges. And I'm the stubborn kind of guy that when I find myself with a bit of time later on, that I will probably still go back and revive the old code and just make sure that I see what I did wrong, because the logic was still, in my mind, it was still sound, just overly complicated. And I think there's still something for me to learn from going back and trying to fix that one as well. So yeah, I like it. I can probably remove these comments here. I set up the test, so if I run it now, it should be fine. Yep. Okay, so let's commit this. Day 5, part 2. Oh. Okay, nice. And this is also like knowing this general approach of how to deal with ranges is really cool. It was a new concept for me, so I was like, I might be able to use some of this later on. So I'll probably make sure that I probably will make a range class or something to deal with this kind of logic in the future, and work a bit on my extension stuff, and like unify or merge ranges like this. I like it. So yeah, you could even do more, that you keep track of all the ones that are folded into one another. So you can just have to keep track of the last index that was shuffled over, and then you can keep like the range of distance that will tell you which ones you combined. But yeah, it's fine. I think we should focus on day 6 now. Let's make a day 6 class, get everything ready, and then start reading day 6. But I can imagine, like, if you're familiar with the problem domain and you've solved something like this before, I can imagine that yesterday would be very easy, but I had a really rough time with it yesterday. Somebody rang my doorbell 6 minutes ago. Okay. I'm sure somebody handled it. Amati says, I'm trying to make AI create documentation for my old AOC code so I can reference it or even ask AI to point me to a class method I'm looking for, but it's not going perfect. That's too bad. Something that I still want to do, like last year, there was and you tried to help me with that actually, Amate. There was a function where you had to like calculate intersecting things in space, like before and after, and there was a precision problem there with, and I don't know which day that was. I can't remember which day it was, but this one is completed. It might be day 21 or something, because I don't have any answers here. Find moves. Yeah. Amate says, yes, I remember, and I'm still looking for you to solve it. I believe it was day 24. Okay. The thing is, this is so far outside of my comfort zone that I wouldn't. I think I didn't even solve part 1 by myself. No, this is Gates. No, that's not it. That's actually one of the things that I want to take and just drop it into like Grok or GPT. Like I drop in the problem set, I drop in the code that I did, and I want them to tell me like, okay, you don't need to spoil it, but tell me what I'm doing wrong. What am I missing? What information do I need to look up? Where am I losing the precision to solve this? That's something that I still want to do. And that's actually some of the things that I think AI is really, really great for stuff like that. Just even like looking up specs or details. I've been doing some cutting edge, bleeding edge stuff on the web, and for stuff that I'm not familiar with, it's like so easy to get them to be like your research buddy, to just grab all the things that you need to know. So yeah, AI isn't all bad. But when I find some time, and that's a big, maybe big if, not one, but if I find some time, I really want to go back to some of the ones that I wasn't able to solve in the past and just learn and see if I can figure that out. Because like, it really annoys me that I didn't get to this point myself yesterday, to just like, okay, this is a really cool and simple way to solve ranges. But I'm really happy now and then that I did fix it and find a way to improve on what other people did. But yeah, I just like to keep learning. And sorry for ranting too much. I'm just gonna go and read day 6 now. Let's see. Day 6. Trash compactor. Did I zoom? Let me zoom the text in a bit to make it easier to read along. Trash compactor. After helping the elves in the kitchen, you were taking a break and helping them reenact a movie scene where you over enthusiastically jumped into the garbage chute. A brief fall later, you find yourself in a garbage smasher. Unfortunately, the door has been magnetically sealed. As you try to find a way out, you're approached by a family of cephalopods? Cephalopods, okay. Cephalopods. Not familiar with them. They're pretty sure they can get the door open, but it will take some time. While you wait, they're curious if you can help the youngest cephalopod? I'm butchering the name, sorry. With her math homework. The math doesn't look that different from normal math. The math worksheet, your puzzle input, consists of a list of problems. Each problem has a group of numbers that need to be either added or multiplied together. However, the problems are arranged a little strangely. They seem to be presented next to each other in a very long horizontal list. For example, blah, okay? Each problem's numbers are arranged vertically. At the bottom of each of the problem is the symbol for the operation that needs to be performed. Problems are separated by a full column of only spaces. The only left-right alignment of numbers within each problem can be ignored. Okay. It's squishy sea animals, Nineberry says. Okay, thank you. And welcome, Nineberry. So this worksheet contains 4 problems. 1 to 3 times 4, 5 times 6. Okay. Sure. To check their work, am I saying it somewhat correctly? Cephalopod? Cephalopod. Actually, I can just do Google and just sound it out. Don't they have the usually...
Cephalopod.
Cephalopod. Okay, cephalopod. I'll keep this open because I will forget how to say it in about 7 seconds. Hey, Vinny Tarot 2804. Oh, these are those questions. Nice. welcome to the chat. So yeah, here's what I'm doing right now. It's Advent of Code. If you're not familiar, it's a really nice programming challenge that comes around once a year, every year. It's been around for over 10 years now, I think. And normally there are 25 problems. This year there are only 12, sadly. But we're still trying to have some fun with it. So welcome. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Cephalopod.
They slowed it down. They're like, I can tell that you're having trouble with it.
Cephalopod.
See, now it's quicker again.
Cephalopod.
Cephalopod, okay. To check the work, cephalopod students are giving the grand total of adding together all of their answers to the individual problems. So you then sum them all up. In this worksheet, the grand total is blah, 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 and this is the answer. Sure, let's put that in the test case here. I should probably also copy the test input here. And I saw Smab grumble about the test input messing things up for him, so I can tell. If this doesn't align, it will be a pain in the behind. So let's make sure that it aligns properly. Yes, of course the actual worksheet is much wider. You need to make sure to unroll it completely so that you can read the problems clearly. Okay, so this is like when they call it advent of parsing, because this firstly becomes a parsing problem, but that's fine. Solve the problem on the math worksheet. What is the grand total found by adding together all of the answers to the individual problems? Okay, let me see. Oh, Jesus. Wait. How does this work? Oh, this is with line breaks. Never mind. I'll just I'll run the code once and then it will be downloaded and then I can view it without word wrap. That's the downside of modern browsers. They will add their own interpretation of or their own stylings to make it easier, but sometimes you just want the raw nasty stuff. Input. I need to do that before this one. Bloop. Now I can check input before I override it. Oh, this one also word wraps. Okay. Interesting. But it should be fine. Boom, 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 boom. What am I looking at? I need to go to bin, debug, .NET 9, cache day 6. Oh, and now we jump back to my other desktop. That's annoying. I have multiple desktops open and I cannot do that without triggering something. It's fine. Let's just see if I can figure something out. Because basically we first need to find a way to parse this vertically down. I'm not sure if I have something for that yet. So let's run it against a real input first and try if we can parse this. Let's do IEnumerable int find columns. So this will be an array of string lines. Okay. So what we will do is int line count is lines length. Okay. So we do for int, come on, for line length is lines 0 dot length. We can call this char count actually. So we can do a loop for int I is 0 I smaller than char count, because I, not ji. So we will walk through the columns. Char to find is this. Okay. If do I need to do this? Does it even matter? Yeah, it's fine. This is lines 0. We can start there. Fine. Like this. Okay. So now we check every one of them. If first line I equals to find, validate all the way down. So we do for int j is 1. Yeah, j is smaller than line count. Yes, this is correct. If lines j I isn't to find, then we do we need to break out of this and continue. So we do bool good is true, something like this, right? Good is false, break. If good, yield return I, and otherwise we just continue to the next one. And then we need to make sure that we don't have consecutive ones because they won't count. So we can do this here. So we do good is false. No worries. Good is false. Then here we do good is true. This. Then if good. And now we need to skip any next white space that we see until we get another character. So we do while, first line, char count, and skip till we get to a non-white space column. think this is the logic that we're looking for. Let's see what it does. What's my problem? I have an accolade that I killed. So I can do, let's do it the test first, if this works. So I do for each int column in find columns input up 2 lines. Control right line. At char column. Right. Okay. If we run this, it should give us 3 of them. Right, so we have one at 0, 1, 2, 3. So this one is the first one. That is fine. 4, 5, 6, 7. That's the next one. And then at 11, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so it seems like the logic works, right? This one will spit out the indices of how we separate the data range, right? Still not sure yet how we're going to do this, but that is fine. Let me run this for the real input. Int call count is 0. We just add this. Console right line. We found call count plus 1 columns. These are separators, so a separator, one separator means 2 columns, 2 separators means 3 columns. Okay, so let's see. 1,000 columns. Okay, that's a nice round number. Makes sense for advent of code. So it's 369. Here it starts to 4. There is a difference of 5, 4, 3. Okay, so it's all fine. So now we know how to parse our logic, or at least our so how to parse our input file. So there are 1,000 math problems in the real thing. So let's use this now to parse it out. And I think we can, due to the way that I did it, I think everything is nicely right aligned, but that's not true because of this. So we will still need to trim it like that. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. What is the best way to do this? Let me think. So basically it's substring ranges. So we do list int column like this. Why isn't it happy? Ah, there needs to be another one of these here. That's why it's not happy. This is fine. So we can make this available to the rest of the code. That is fine. What would be a nice format to parse this? And basically it will be lists of numbers, right? It will be a multi-dimensional. So basically it will be a list of let's make them U-longs just to make sure that we don't overflow. Let's first try it. No, let's there probably needs to be big ints in the end if we need to combine all of them again. Let me think. Problem set like this. Sure. So now we do yeah, why not? I mean, in the end, it doesn't really matter. Nope. We need to access this multiple times in a bit, so we do a list string lines this. Is this an enumerable or an array? A string array, also fine. We don't care because we don't need to modify it anyway. So a string array is fine with me. So we have this. Okay. So basically, boom, 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 boom. So this would be, actually this would be int next index. Oh, I have a hard thing happening. I'm still not used to the notifications, sorry. I think Vinay T followed me. Thanks for the follow. Thanks and welcome. So yeah, we have this. We parsed our, so for those that maybe just came into the stream, we're doing Advent of Code day 6. I just wrote something to parse the input and get all the column separators because it's vertically separated by space. Now I need to do all the parsing. So Advent of parsing first, and then we do Advent of Code. So next index, so we do int start index is 0. Yes, this is fine. So we can do list ulong problem is blah, and we can do for int I is 0, I sure like this, except I prefer to do it like this, and I cache this line count, and I can do that here, int line count is this. Okay, so we do problem.add ulong.parse, and this becomes lines I, and then we can do start index. Is this the length or the end index? Actually, I don't know that. Let's see if this works. I need to set a breakpoint here. So this would basically be that part, and then here we do start index is next index, and this should build up our whole thing. And then we do a problem set.add problem. And this should build out our whole thing. So let me set a breakpoint here just to make sure that it does exactly what I think it does. Okay, that's annoying, but fine. So yeah, that is fine. Oh yeah, and it needs to be trimmed actually. Doesn't it let me do that? I just want to see if it's a length thing or an actual end index thing, just to be sure. I think that works as expected. Yes, it gives 3 characters. Okay, so this should be fine. Nice. Boom, 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 boom. This needs to be trimmed. Hot reload, sure. I won't hot reload, no worries. Let's first parse this out here and see if it works as expected. It will throw an error on the last line. Just get prepared for that, because yes, it will be that one. So we need to be -1, and then we also need to have a list char operators. We call them problem set do like this. Voila, like this. And then we do a problem set. And then we do actually the same thing here. Like this. This one becomes line count, no, line count -1. So let's run this back. Because as I hit the run, I would, because yeah, okay, so that works. Let's see. Vinay says, "Great work, bro. Keep it up. I hope it can become good enough to solve such problems." Ah, that. I really appreciate those kind words. But I'm pretty sure that you can do this if you really want to. This year might be a little bit tougher than other years, but you can actually go back. If you go to adventofcode.com, here's the current problem that we're doing. If you go back to events, you can go back to all the previous years. And what I would recommend is to just start doing the day one for every year, because these are the warming up ones. And usually if you have a basic programming knowledge, you can do this and you can work your way up from there. Then the added benefit of Advent of Code, using Advent of Code to learn, is that there's a pretty great Reddit community. There are lots of great communities, but the ones on Reddit is really nice. So if you ever get stuck, you can ask them, even for previous years, like, "Hey, I'm trying to do this. This is where I'm at. Can you give me a hint without spoiling?" Lots of people are really willing to help. And there is also archived a solution thread. So every day people post their code on Reddit. And you can see for pretty much every language of programming that's ever been invented, somebody that did it in that language, and see how somebody else tackled it. So especially for the tougher ones, it's sometimes really cool to see what people come up with. So Vinay says, "I can't even solve lead code medium level questions without taking 2 hours. I need more practice and learning." Yeah, that's the big thing about programming, right? It's I think one of the hardest things to learn, because it's such a wide discipline. Every day there's still stuff to learn, but it's really rewarding. Like the feeling when you solve something that you did completely yourself, it's really great. So if you get enjoyment from programming, just keep at it and you'll get better from just doing it. And I haven't done much of the lead code stuff, but I can really recommend Advent of Code. Vinny says, "Yeah, man, how long have you been programming?" I was quite lucky. When I was 12, I discovered there was a computer magazine in the Netherlands, and like at the last page of that computer magazine, it said like, "There's hidden stuff on your Windows 95 CD." So that dates me a little bit. So there's back then on Windows 95 there was a thing called a Power Pack, and it had all sorts of cool programs for power users. And one of them was a free programming language called QBasic or QBasic. So I saw that magazine. I was like, "Oh, gotta try that." So I popped it in. I used my dial-up internet to find some programming tutorials for QBasic, and I wrote my first programs when I was 12. So that's 30 years now, 30 years ago. I've been doing this for quite a while, and I just fell in love with programming, and I've been coding ever since. So yeah, it's been 30 years is the answer to the to the question. So yeah. Let's see, what was I doing? Oh yeah, I was parsing this out. I was checking the operator. Let's see, we have our problem sets. Actually, let's make sure this is in view. So blah blah blah. We have our problem sets. Oh yeah, I still need to see. This is a small bug. I forgot, after I've done all of this, the last one needs to go to the end. So I need to do this one more time here. It's something that you can do because I want to use the same named variable here, but if I do this at a level deeper, it will conflict with this one. So you can create a whole new indentation by just adding accolades here, so you won't get a naming issue there. Vinay says, "Wow, that's crazy. You must be crack deaf." Nah, I really just enjoy programming. So, um, yeah, I really love doing it. I'm fairly competent. I run my own software company as well, so I think I'm pretty okay. But there's always people that are better. So don't never try to compare yourself to other people because it will just make you miserable. Just find the joy in what you do, and if you just like programming, you'll get there in the end. Just be inquisitive, keep going, keep doing it, and especially in nowadays, like there's so much information and communities out there. It's never been easier to get help or with stuff that you're doing. I remember I used to program on Rent-A-Coder. It's a site where you can post like programming jobs for a few dollars, and then you can earn some money writing code. And there was somebody there that wanted C# code to fade out a PCM wave audio track. So that's like if you use the sound recorder in your computer back then, it would save them as .wav files. It's like uncompressed sine wave audio, right? Um, and the file that structure it is called RIFF. And that's basically a way to structure that kind of data that's also used for AVI files and so. But back then it was like really hard to find. So I actually on Amazon back then I found, and that's the really old Amazon, not the way, yeah, it's still the same, but like it was at the start of when internet became popular. I found like a programming book from the 80s, a C++ book that talked about how the header file for RIFF files, um, it's a rich interchange file format, I think, how that worked and how it was set up. So I used Amazon Read Inside back then. You could, if you would connect a credit card, you could read a couple of pages from a book because the book was over $100 back then. So I then just read those few pages. I had another credit card to read a few more, and I just implemented the code from there. And nowadays you can ask an LLM or even just Google. There's so much information available. So if you really want to do stuff, it's never been easier than now. What projects have you done in these 30 years, and what company do you work in for? I've done, yeah, since I'm like an idiot that likes programming, you can probably name anything and I've probably done it. Like the craziest stuff, like editing audio files, but I've created a whole factory to like mix subliminal audio, self-motivation into piano tracks and automate CD burners and then master it with Cool Edit Pro. And I've written software that works inside of 3D chat games, like to produce wooden looking signposts for on a beach, and like there was a thing called Active Worlds a long time ago, so somebody hired me to do that. I've written stuff to connect like a metal detector to an industrial meat slicer. Pretty much if you name it, I've probably done something with it. So that's just the nature of really liking programming, doing everything. One of the really cool things that I did, I actually got interviewed by like the national news for it. There was like an OEM modem manufacturer. This is around, I think, 2008, so it's been a while. And they would create modems for big ISPs. So it was Thomson, they made them, and then ISPs would white label them and give them to their customers. And somebody in England on the BT Home Hub forums, I think, I don't remember the exact site, but I read something about it, that somebody cracked a default algorithm that they could use to deduce the passwords of those modems. So I read that and I was like, that's interesting, because I saw somebody say, well, hey, those are the same things like those speed touch modems in the Netherlands, right? And it turns out there are like variations of that code. It was used all over Europe back then. And when you were in the Netherlands and you would, if any random street in the Netherlands would have like 4 or 5 of these modems at least. So you would see an SSID of speed touch and then 6 hex codes. And so I read somebody writing about the algorithm that they reverse engineered. It's like, okay, basically what they do is they take the serial number of the modem that is tied in to how the SSID is generated. So if you generate all the possible serial modems for those, and it was like a format of like 2 letters, then a year code, and then 3 letters, and then a sequence of numbers. If you generate all possible combinations, hash them, you take the first part would be then, I think it was the first part would be part of the MAC address or the serial, and the last part would be, no, the first part would be the SSID, and then the last part would be the password. Let's see. Missy Kin says, hi, how are you going? Yeah, I'm doing fine. I'm just writing day 6, but I'm getting a bit sidetracked telling old war stories. So let me just finish the story and then I'll continue programming. So basically they figured out that if they take the serial number and they hashed it, that hash, 2 parts of that, one part would be the serial, the SSID, and the second part would be the actual password for the Wi-Fi. So what they would do is, if they see an SSID, they would enter that last part, they generate all the combinations, brute force, take a few minutes, and then it would spit out a few candidates because there were some collisions in there, right? And I was like, I can do better. So I read back, I read it over and over and over again, trying to understand the actual algorithm, and I re-implemented it back then in C#. So I was like, let's see if I can do this. And then I managed to actually do it. So I understand the problems that well enough that I was able to recreate the way that it was generating. And then I was like, okay, now that I can do this, I could just build a rainbow table and get all the answers instantly. So that's what I did. I built a 60 gigabyte rainbow table, as efficient as possible, with all the possible serial numbers for those modems. Hey Plusmid, welcome, welcome. Thanks for the raid. I hope you had a nice time. Did you get your 2 Advent of Code stars? Hello. I was just mid talking about an old story. I can probably pull it up here. Nick.yt. So I'll drop it in so you can watch it later if you want. There is a video, and it's a really old one, but that's basically the news interview that I did a few years ago. This one.
Internet modems.
And I'll just drop it in so you can watch it later if you want. So it's basically telling the story of how I got famous a little bit because I let like millions of people hack internet modems around the world. So I have had a site and it's filled with ads. I can probably still show it because it's still up, I think. So this is basically the thing, A, B, C, D, E, F. If I do a lookup, and this is all just for show. This is just a small animation. I have the answers instantly. This was just to give it a bit of flair, right? But this is what I was talking about. You would put in the last part of the SSID, and my site would give you the passwords, and this would actually let you connect to everybody's Wi-Fi, because back then it was really new. At that time, it was like early 2000s, where you would get your modem from an ISP. You would have to enter a password, etc. These one came pre-secured. Like everyone had a unique SSID, so you didn't have to think of an ID yourself. It would come with a different password for every modem. So everybody was like, oh, this is useful. I can just plug it in and use it. So nobody would ever change the name of the SSID for the modem or the password. So with me having reverse engineered and re-implemented that algorithm, basically I could go anywhere in the Netherlands, Greece, France. There were so many countries that had these moments, and England, that you could just be anywhere in the country and just plug in the SSID and just get the passwords and be able to have free Wi-Fi, because back then people didn't have unlimited data plans. So lots of people, like thousands of people, would use my site every day just to break into modems and get free internet everywhere. So and at a certain point, like the biggest Dutch news organization, RTL back then, they contacted me from, hey, we just learned about this. We contacted the provider and they say this is a non-issue. Could you give us some information? So I just showed them a query from my site that showed like 10,000 different people did it since they asked the question. So this is very much still a thing and nobody has secured these modems. So yeah, and then they came over and did an interview with me, and we were actually, that was pretty cool. They were like, okay, can we do this live? So the journalists were like, okay, can we show this? And I told them, well, I can't because it's highly illegal if you do this, and I don't want to go to jail for this. I'm just, the fact that I show that this is possible doesn't mean that I want to go for jail for this. They said, well, I'll do it. So I said, well, I can, I know some people that have one of these modems. I can call them and see if we can do this on their modem so you won't be in trouble. Right? So I called them, but I already pre-cleared it with them, but they forgot it or something. So we drove to the general area and I couldn't get a hold of them. And we were rolling and having an interview there, and it was like, okay, I can see a modem here. And the news guy said, well, F it, I'm just gonna do it. I'll just tell them it's for news and I won't go to jail for this. So that was fine. So we were in the street there, and I was like, I could see one of the modems, and I was walking around to see what signal strength. I was like, it should be one of those two houses there probably. Okay, so we went into the modem, and there you can see like the home phone number, because it's like it's internet, TV, and phone. So it's all three in that modem. So you could see the number of the person that owned it. You could see everyone that they called, so like a full call log in the modem. You could turn on and off their phone, their TV, etc. And he was like, okay, and he did a small showcase. And then he was like, okay, I'm gonna call these people. So he took the number from the modem, he called them, he was like, okay, hey, I'm standing in the street right now. Did you know that your modem was unsafe? And I was like, huh? Yeah, we're the Dutch news and we would like to talk to you. And then we went inside there, I showed them and I explained them. It was actually quite fun because the person that we ran up to, that he knew me and my dad from back then. So that was quite fun. So yeah, that was a small, like, few minutes of fame for me. It's a really fun thing. I really like doing that. Yeah. So that's a small memory of some of the things that I've done. Vinay says, you're more into network and security, low-level programming. Well, I really like security, InfoSec, but it's something that just takes really a lot of time. Like back in that time, Twitter was the primary way to be on top of everything that's happening in the InfoSec world. So I was like on Twitter 6 hours a day or something, just to catch up to everything that's happening, retweeting, investigating. So it's like the days were lolsec and they were all doing weird stuff. So that's really fun. Let's see. Somebody on YouTube says, hey, I just joined. Did you manage to solve day 6? I was actually solving. I just wrote a parser and then people asked the question and I went off on a tangent telling me about some older exploits, etc. So I will go back to solving day 6. I'm sorry. Yeah, so I should probably focus a bit on programming more instead of talking, but yeah, it's nice to talk a bit about all the stuff that I've done in the past. But yeah, so I would spend like 6 hours a day outside of my job just to get to be on top of everything that happened in software security. And back at the day, like John McAfee followed me to stay up to date for news on Twitter. I think he still follows me on Twitter. And it's like a really small community on Twitter where everybody that's into that scene it spreads, right? It's a tight-knit community. And it's really fun to see everything that's going on. It was also back in the day when like Sony got hacked and Thunderstruck played on all their machines, etc. So I really like it. It's a really fun field, but it just took, at a certain point, it just took too much of my time to keep up to date with it because I only did it out of interest. I didn't make money in it. It wasn't my primary. I've always been programming, making money that way, but the InfoSec is just hobby and a part of the job that I really like, but not professionally. So yeah. Okay, I think I've talked enough. Let's go on with coding. I did the parsing, so I wrote a parser for this. It's an advent of parsing today. So what we did was find out which columns had white spaces all the way to the end, so that will be our separator. That already worked. I have the problem set parser here. I just need to do one more pass for the last column, and I didn't do that. So basically this would be next index like this. And next index is not defined here. I can just do start index because it will be updated here. Like this. Let me just put a breakpoint here just to make sure that I'm correct in my assessment. Okay. So like this line. This ends with 64. I didn't change anything. I wonder what's going on. I'll just put a breakpoint here and see if it works, because it's a bit annoying. Okay, problem sets here. There are 4 of them. Let's scroll this into view. Let's see, problem sets here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3, yes, 51, yep, and 64, 23, 30. Okay, now we have our operators. Star plus star star, star plus star plus. Okay, so it seems like everything is correct. Everything is parsed out as it should be. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. So that's everything parsed. Now we just need to execute. We can remove this because it doesn't matter. So now we need to can do int problem count is length count console.writeline, come on, we parse okay. I should make these accessible globally. Like this. Okay. Nah, it's not really needed to cache this, but it's fine. We do it anyways. Okay. Nice background painting. What do you mean background painting? Not sure if I missed something. So this is the find columns part. So now we need to do the implementation. So we need to do for int I is 0, I smaller problem count. And then we do based on the operator. So we do car operator is that's a reserved keyword, so we can't do that. Operators I. Ah, Max was in the background. Yeah. I'm Dutch. I'm a fan. So my wife, whenever there's like a reason to give gifts, she gives me stuff from Max Verstappen because, yeah, why not? So this was the New York Times cover thing, print out of that one. So yeah, it was nice. I'm curious to see if he can clench a 5th one out of nowhere. Nobody expected him to be even in the race. So for those who don't know, this weekend is the last race weekend for the current F1 season, and yeah, he has a shot of winning. And he says his interviews are so funny. Yeah. Missy Kin says he prefers Leclerc, Charles. I have sympathy for him, but I've talked about this recently. But I would really be curious to see what the current grid. Missy, it's okay. Okay, that's good, Missy. Um, I'm really curious what they would do in equal machinery for a few times. I'd like to see the actual skill because some people have been really unfortunate with the problems, the cars they've had. Um, Now we need to do actually the math itself. So we do u long result is problem set I, actually no, well, values is this, come on, values is this, and then we do is values like that. Let's see, const char add operator is plus null this. Do you stream every day? For Advent of Code, yes. Like I said, I really like programming, so if it were up to me, I would probably do this every day, all day, because I really like programming and I like sharing that love with other people. But so far, Advent of Code. Hey Steve, welcome. It's been a year, buddy. As most people here will know, I only come out of the woodworks around December because I always want to keep going with streaming, but I never find the time. And like Advent of Code is the only time that I can really push myself to make sure that I free up some time to actually do the streaming. And people ask me to stream more, and I'm really honored by that. And I want to do it every time, but I never get around to it. So maybe this is the year. No, I can't make any promises. I would really like to stream more, but yeah. I have my own company with a lot of work. I have a family. I have 2 kids. If you want to stick around and maybe share some of your own solutions as well, I have a Discord where people like to share their code as well every day. So you can see some of that here. So feel free to join the Discord. I'll drop in there when I start the stream. I don't have a set schedule for that, so that's not really useful for people, but I try to at least tell it on the Discord. I tweet it out as well. Yeah, I'm happy to have you as much as you can take me coding, so feel free to join. It's really nice. I have a small crowd of people that joins me every year, and I'm really fortunate to have them because it's just a lot of fun to do this together. And I learn a lot from them as well, so yeah. Let's see. I was solving part 6. If you guys think that I'm talking too much, just let me know. But I'm having fun, so I hope you're having fun as well. So what I'm trying to do here is just the simple part of just multiplying or adding. And I can use a link query, but I'm just gonna do switch op case add operator break. Multiply operator default throw new application exception. It's actually more of an argument exception. We don't support the blah operator yet. So let's do that OP. We're here listening to you talk. Yeah, that's true. That's true. So I'm glad I'm entertaining you. So like to have you all. Boom, 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 boom. I'm 2 days late. Well, oh well. 2 days late in what regard? Are you behind on Advent of Code? Vinay, it's 9 in the evening here. So you're behind on Advent of Code. Okay. That's not a problem. You can catch up. I had a really rough time yesterday. And that was partly because I was sleep deprived, but also because I just didn't know the proper way to do it. I did it at the beginning of the stream. And I found a way to at least improve on but I'll try not to spoiler you too much. So yeah, that was at the beginning of the stream. You can watch it back on YouTube if you want, or ask questions later in the Discord. That's no problem. So yeah, let's actually get the test for part 1 done. Add operator, sure. So we can do 4 int I is, no, we can't do that. J is 1. J, and I need to cache this as well. So value count is values that will count. Sure. J smaller value count. Increment J, and then we do result plus equals values J. Steve says, which day have you liked the most this year? There haven't been any standouts yet. It was okay. I probably also already forgot half because it's been so hectic all the time. Busy says, my girlfriend claims me, I have to go dinner. Okay, no problem. Enjoy dinner, and it's been great having you here, and hope to see you around again. So, bye-bye. Do you have a favorite, Steve? Yeah, good day, good night. It was nice to have you here and chat a bit. Same here. Can multiply. Yeah, for those who don't know, Steve is really hardcore about optimizations, like aligning everything so cache is hit properly. And so if you're looking for performance tips, Steve is the man for that. So Steve says, I really enjoyed solving day 2 in an efficient way. Yeah, I had that with, was that day 3? I don't remember. I don't even remember what the things were. Let me go back. Now I want to know. Day 2 was the gift shop. Okay. Day 3. This one was fairly simple. I found that pretty fast. This one was actually the one that I liked. True. Marta says, be honest, Nick, yesterday was fun, wasn't it? No, I didn't have the best of time yesterday, but that was a me problem. So, Steve, I think I preferred day 4 the most because I found, for me, comparing with what everybody else did, I found a nice way to solve part 2 with like a cascading ripple effect. People call it BFS. I thought it was cool that I thought of that right away. And not having to do any loops, just cascade out there. So yeah, I think it's day 4 for me so far. But feel free to drop your code in the Discord for the other days and we'll look. Steve says, day 4 is my mark of shame. It's the only one so far that doesn't run under 1 millisecond. Shame. I need to hook that up. Like the only thing that I have in my stream, I haven't set it up. I have this one that I made a long time ago. So I have this scene set up. And if you actually look at this, it only has ones, zeros, and letters from my name in here. And there's like small hidden messages in bed. That's funny. So I coded that background. It's a live thing. But I said I need to have like a shame thing. You would really like this. Oh man, sorry for keeping going on tangent. If somebody is annoyed by it, just drop it in the chat and I'll stop it. The way this is done is actually pretty cool because it's very efficient. It does like a semi-transparent, so it's a single paint that automatically fades out the rest because it's semi-transparent. So it's really, really cool, just a canvas drawing technique. I have a live version that you can inspect and steal if you want. So I have transfer dot blah blah / matrix.html. So this is, and I don't have a URL here, so you can go look at the code here and steal it. It's really, I think it's really cool. Also, if you hit the developer console here, you get a nice Easter egg. So if you hit F12 on the side, you get a nice Easter egg. I had lots of fun with it. I coded this a few years ago, and I never got around to actually use it for what I did, so I just reused it for something else. I think that I have the like sources, page, yes. Nope, I think the source is probably just in the page here as well. Yeah. So it's probably not the most readable code, but I'm sure Steve is up to the job. So it's really straightforward. So this is like the restricted set of characters that it's allowed to use. So I have my name, Nick Cussers, with some sets of zeros and one to make sure that they occur a bit more. And there's like some custom regions for stuff. Like I think if you mouse over some of these parts, it would also trigger the Rick Astley part, which is just a GIF that's overlaid, and you play with transparency to show it. So yeah, you can go over it in your own time. This is for the files share itself. The animation part is up here, so I'll just leave you to that later, because I'll never get this end of code stuff done. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm actually showing stuff. I had the I had the wrong thing showing. I'm sorry. What I was showing was if you have this open, okay, and you hit F12, the developer console, it will rickroll you, etc. So yeah, sorry, I didn't know that I still had the I still had the overlay on. Sorry. You can just dive into the code yourself. I shared the link. I had the code over and I was highlighting pieces of the code with the overlay still on. So sorry for that. TV just says all I see is ones and zeros. And that's our lady in a red dress. Yeah. Nice Matrix reference there. So yeah, sorry. I've been all over the place today, but I'm having fun. Let's get back to the code. We're doing Advent of Code, day 6, part 1. Almost there. I'm just doing this, and then I wonder if this will overflow something, but it should be fine. And then we do p1 plus equals result. And this one should give us the value, and I can just give us the extra room of the ulong, and then I can do, I can cast this to ulong. So let's run this and see if the test works. What's happening? Is it crashing? Blah blah blah. Output, no. Call stack. Oh, I had a breakpoint here. I'm sorry. Oh, I don't know why it's doing this. That's about yeah, I don't know why, but it's fine. Let's run it again. My Visual Studio has been complaining every time I look at it. Okay, so it goes past part 1, so that is fine. Let's run it with the real input and see if I need to switch to big integer somewhere. False. Let's run this. Dang it. This is weird. The new VS is acting up. Yes. I'm just gonna paste this in right now because it's probably something to do with how I cast this here and have a protection there. I'm just gonna drop it in, wish for the best. Woohoo! Gold star, nice. Steve says I get that bug in the VS Insiders build too. Okay. It's the first time for me. I've been loving the new Visual Studio 2026, but it recently updated, so maybe that's because of it's so much faster than the 2022 Visual Studio. It's like noticeably very, very good, improved. So yeah, I like seeing my AOC star in the chat. For those who know, I made that one a few years ago. So nice. So yeah, let's see part 2. The big cephalopods come back to check on how things are going. When they see that your grand total doesn't match the one expected by the worksheet, they realize they forgot to explain how to read cephalopod math. Cephalopod math is written right to left in columns. Wait, what? Each number is given in its own column, with the most significant digit at the top and the least significant digit at the bottom. Okay, I'll figure that out in a bit. Problems are still separated with the column consistent only of spaces, and the symbol at the bottom of the problem is still the operator to use. So here's the example. So this is 3, 5, 6, 2, 4, and 1. The rightmost problem. 4, 4, 3. Ah, okay, sure. Still more parsing to do, yeah. Steve says, now's the fun part where Eric tries to hurt you. Yeah. I don't like the new VS because they messed up themes and my usual one doesn't work. Ah, that's annoying. That's annoying. Okay. But this isn't too bad. Basically, you just dunk all of the ones, you concat them, and then you trim them. I mean, it is what it is, but it's not that bad. I just wonder what this problem does here. Why this causes an issue. Ah, I know what it is, because I don't have the answer yet, and I caused it to you long, and this one, the actual answer is a negative answer, and that's why it throws there. So never mind, I'm an idiot for not realizing that. This was the answer for part 1. I need to put that in here. So if I would run it now, it wouldn't throw an error and just move on to part 2. So let me do that. Bloop, yeah, exactly, sure. Octona says, my VS Code settings are making things harder for part 2. Ah, okay. Yeah, I think Smab also said something about the editor throwing a wrench into things. So what I'll just do is I do string get a column string, and then I do string lines int column index, right? And then I do a string builder as b is new, and the buffer we initialize it to lines at count, length, sure, int char count is this, char count. Actually, I have that value. No, that's the is it? I can just put it here. No need to do it twice. Okay. So we go for int I is 0, I smaller than line count, increment I, sv.append. This, no, yes, actually. Yeah, that line, that column, sure. So this one builds a string for the column. So this is actually the part that should happen in the second one there. Column separators. basically this belongs to part 1 exclusively now. Okay, let's make this global as well, because we don't need to redo that work. So the first parsing now just consists of reading the lines, getting the count, getting all the separators, and now we need to make sure that we parse this out. And the way to do this is very similar to this. Octona said, I struggled with the brain gymnastics in part 2, so you'll probably knock it out of the park. That's how these things usually go. Yeah, but for instance, yesterday a lot of people were complaining that it was so easy, and I was here for 2 hours and couldn't get it done. So we all have our specialities and things that we find easy where another one struggles, and yeah, don't worry about it. It's the same idea here. Actually, I don't need to ruin this for part 1. Actually, I can, because I don't care. Operators are still the same, we don't need to do that. So operator stuff can be gone. Let me think. Greetings, friends of printing in and out and doing on paper. Yeah, printing it out and doing it on paper. Yeah, that would work. And there have been plenty of people doing Advent of Code with pen and paper in the past, but this one would be, it's very doable. But yeah, I think I have the right code set up that I can do this fairly okay. The only thing that I need to change how I do this. So basically I need to There's nothing more helpful than somebody telling you that the thing you're struggling with is actually easy. Yeah. Amarte says, to be honest, this whole week wasn't that hard and we were in the middle of Advent of Code already. Don't know what to make of it. What awaits us next week. Yeah. To be fair, this is tedious, right? This is hard in parsing, not in solving. And I actually have to read it again to make sure that I understand part 2 correctly. Because I think this means that the amount of digits is a lot simpler, but yeah, it should be fine. So this is still the same. I don't need to do this. The loop now is actually I is start index. I is smaller than next index, and then sure. And now we do this was actually fine, but the thing that we need is get column string I, like this. I think this is actually the thing that we need. And it's just, again, this loop, and this one would be char count. Don't I have a cached version of how long the string is? Okay, I guess I didn't do that. So we can just do lines 0 dot length, like this. Okay, and I'll just step through this just for the start to make sure that I'm not doing something stupid here. and the actual solving is still the same. It's basically just this. So here we have this, and then we do P2. So I probably need to clean up some stuff, but it's fine. And this one can be also long, and then this, and then I need to do answer P2. I just set it to 0 now so that it doesn't throw an overflow exception. Let's see. Steve Josh said, I usually quit about halfway through. Nightmare says, there's no map traversal puzzle tomorrow. I will, if there's no map traversal puzzle tomorrow, I will be disappointed. Yeah. We usually get some of that. I just hope it's not like the Chinese remainder theory, stuff like that, like where you have to have domain-specific knowledge that I probably won't, and I'll just not be able to do it. Blowfish Fugu says, I haven't seen an infinite grid for a while. Oh yeah, I remember like the infinite dimensions one. I actually think I didn't solve that one. There's still quite a few that I still need to go back and fix / solve. So let's run this actually for the test input. Let's not do the real thing yet. Let's first do the test input, make sure that I did this correctly. And the code is very messy, so I will probably still want to clean it up in a bit, but it's fine. It's so slow to start. I wonder what it is. See, I didn't do anything. I hit F10 and it complains. What the I hate it. Leave me alone. See, clean run. I just want to step through my code. Don't get mad at me. Is it some optimization that it doesn't rebuild if it doesn't need to or something? Okay, that's really weird. Steve says, that's the same thing it does to me. I think disabling the hot reload will make it stop confusing itself. At least until you close it. Yeah, okay. Okay, so I'm really curious if I do this now. Add watch. Ooh. That's a good one. I need to not add the last character, because that's a boo-boo. So it worked, except do -1 to skip the operator. Okay, boom. I think we can let this run now because I think it's okay. I'll just set a breakpoint here because I want to inspect the things that it did to parse, see if it works. Input string was in an incorrect format. Okay, let's reload this. It's an empty string. Sure, that can happen. String, call string is this. If not string, that is null empty what blah blah. Get out of my way. Come on. Oh no, I'm not doing certificate stuff. String that is null empty a white space. Call string. Okay, this is fine. I still need to do this here as well. It's not a completely empty string. I'm pretty sure it was. It's a white space string, so it's null or white space, and I already trim it, so that's fine. Do I have the wrong index here? What's the index? Never mind, you guys. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. Call string is this. Okay. Come. Okay. What I want to do now is go over here And now see if we have the problem set. 124,356. Cool. 369, and I get a Little John song in my head. 248 and 8. Cool. 32. 581. 175. Yes, that's also correct. 62. Wait. This one isn't correct. This one should be 623,431. Ah, it is. Never mind. Now I was reading this in column wise. It's like, oh, it messes with your brain, man. I was like, oh no, this is wrong. But my head actually started. My brain flipped the way that I was reading the numbers because I was like, oh, this is what you want, right? That's so weird. It's like. I remember the first time that I went to Cambridge. There was like, I went with my parents a long time ago, and it was for a folk festival. And basically all that you would do there is talk with English people. And back then I wasn't chronically online doing stuff in English all the time. And I caught myself, like, between talking to my parents and other Dutch people and English people there, that your internal monologue switches to English as well. So like the way you reason inside your head, when you start doing stuff in a different language enough, your internal reasoning voice will switch to a different language as well, and it makes you process things differently. It's so weird when you catch yourself in that moment when it switches. It's like, whoa, it's really fun, especially if you speak like multiple languages fluent enough that you can reason in them, because if you're not fluent enough, your brain won't switch to a different language to reason, and that's really funny. Yeah, Steve says not everybody has an internal monologue. That still blows my mind. Yeah, that's true. But there's also stuff like synesthesia, right? That I think that would be really cool to experience, to have like sounds have color, or like sense, and like the mixing of the association of certain senses and experiences with other things. It's so weird. The mind is a fascinating thing. What were we doing? Oh yeah, we were doing part 2. I think this one is fine. Did I record the answer for part 2? No, I didn't. Let's record this one. So answer to test. Let's run it and see if it does the right thing. I didn't check that yet. I have a breakpoint here. Come on. Okay, it works. Let's now run the real code and see if that also works. I think it's okay. I think this was just a parsing problem, not too much more than that. That's a big number. Woo! Second gold star in the bag. Okay. So yeah, this, like, logic-wise, this was probably one of the easiest things so far, because it's just doing math. The hard thing here was just the parsing. So it's fun to have that like once, but it's not that much of a challenge. So I think I did more talking than actually coding today. Yeah, this was for me an easy one compared to yesterday. And it's really messy code as well, so I probably need to make it a little bit neater. The thing that I don't like a lot is that I have like, this is the logic inside the loop, and then I do it again, and the only difference is that I don't take this range, but I take this one as a start to the end. So I don't like that. I could make it a function where I just pass these two in, and then do that. Would that be nice? I don't know. And also, like, something told me like you can do a simple dot sum on all the values. That would also work. but I don't remember how to do that for multiplication because you need to start with one of them. So yeah, I'm all over the place today, sorry. So let me just actually just commit the messy code. Day 6 to stars. Not refactor yet. Okay. Commit. Push. Aggregate. It takes in an optional C. Ah, yeah. Okay. Good that you say that. I think it's time to watch the Discord and see what people did for today. Let me see my day 5 in C#. No. Day 5, my day 5, day 6, SMAP. 8:45 this morning, let's see. So if you want me to look at your code, by the way, just drop it in the Discord. If you need the Discord link, just tell. I think I already shared it a few times, but feel free to ask if you need the link again. I think it's also in the YouTube comment, but I haven't checked if that's still the correct one. So either way, let me know if you need anything. Let's see. Yeah, this is a nice way to do that. I like that. Just have a mapping for the char to the logic that needs to happen. So that is something to probably do as well. I prefer to do it explicitly. This is like, if it's a plus, do the adding. Otherwise, assume it's the multiplication. I always try to be more defensive there, so that if you make a mistake with parsing, you don't accidentally assume the wrong thing. But in the end, usually it's fine, right? Let's see, visualize strings. Okay, sure. 2 to the array. I think he made a new helper. Let's see. Input all except the last row. So we skip the operators here. As numbers. Okay. So every I have to look at this code to see what it does there, because there's no straight. Actually, and I can remember that he had something to parse it, just based on white space, because we have that had that multiple times. I'm an idiot. Well, I have a function split by ASCII whitespace. See, I've already written a function previous years that will just skip as many whitespace as it needs to be and then dump out all the strings. So I could have used this. The fact that I didn't and wrote the thing that I did was very smart of me in hindsight, because it really helped me for part 2. Because if I would have used my helper function here, I wouldn't have had the indices that I need to do that, right? So I'm actually glad that I didn't remember that I already wrote this once, because it came in clutch in the end. So yeah, that's nice. How fortunate. Yes. Happy. The thing is 2D array, that is also a helper. The transpose. Okay, sure. Amate says, I wanted to ask you, why don't you just do split by whitespace and parse it into int and make an array of arrays and just index your way around that for part 1, but your way worked as well. Yeah, it just came to me. When I looked at the problem set, I was like, okay, this is what I need to do. I don't know why. Maybe because I suspected there would be shenanigans with like stuff, maybe a value missing or whatever. Like from how I read it, it seemed that it would be like, okay, this is really a grid divide thing more than just values separated by white space. So that's why my mind immediately went to like this is the same thing that I do that I did when I wrote my own OCR engine to like box in stuff. Also fun stories, by the way, for another time. Writing your own OCR engine is very fun. So that's why my mind probably, because I've did stuff like this in the past, just went to there like, okay, I need to like box out the actual ranges. So yeah. Visualize string chunk by, wait, what? Calls as strings, okay. Okay, these are a bunch of helpers that I don't know yet, but it's funny to read it like this. But in the end, I don't think there will be much exciting stuff to look at because it's just all parsing. But we'll see. We'll see if there's some standard stuff here. Let's see. Check input shape. It's rectangular. Is it rectangular? Sure. I like that you leave it in there. Let's see. Let's assume rectangular. Sure. Get ops. Sure, you start with the last one in this case. Is that because that was easier to reason about? That you're like, okay, let's start with the easiest thing to get a win and then move on to the next thing? Ooh, a stack alloc. Already going for the optimizations there. Steve, this is right up your alley, right? Yes, exactly. That was it. Yeah. It's funny that from the way that you code, I can see some of the things that you were thinking. That's fun. Keep current column for each line. Okay. Steve says, yes, I'm a huge fan of Stackalog. My mind doesn't even go there. So I should probably look into that if I want to be more efficient in these things, but nice. Let's see, okay, so you treat this as, okay, it's either multiplication, it's 1, and otherwise it's a 0. Why do you do that? What's partial, actually? Is that, why is this, isn't that a reserved keyword? It's funny that you can use it, because you can tell that the syntax highlighter is getting confused here, because partial is a reserved keyword, but only in certain contexts. They also, like in the new the new C# language, they have stuff for like field will become a reserved word, so have to be careful using that as well. Let's see. Because 0 is the identity property under addition and 1 under multiplication. Okay. But allow me to, nice. Okay. Identity property under addition. I don't even know what that means. But let's see if we figure it out when I keep reading. Look for any chart first. Okay. Find the first. Yeah. Get back 1. Sure. All it means is n plus. Its initial value. Sorry for. Ah, okay. Okay. Makes sense. That's, yeah, okay. But because that, if you keep, if you multiply, if you start from 0, you multiply, you end up with 0. So yeah, sure. That's the thing. I try, that's the thing that I avoided by just taking the first value. In my solution, I just take the first value of the, I need to go to day 6. I just take the first value as the start of the result to bypass that exact issue. But this is the nice way to do it. Let's see, sure, jump back 1, construct number, okay. Let's see, what does this do? Ah, yeah, okay. So this is basically from going from a char and constructing the number by taking what you already have, multiply it by 10, so you shift it over one decimal position, and then you take the char value, you subtract this to go from a char code to the actual single digit code. It's the same trick we used a few days ago. So this is instead of doing an actual parse, this is an alternative to string parse to construct a number. Have you done any benchmarking, by the way, to see the uh, the comparison for this? I'm curious um, to see how much it would differ, because I know this is fairly efficient, and I don't know the exact overhead of like the num parse. Maybe it does like something similar internally. Steve, you've probably looked at the framework code, right? Is this how the no? There's probably too many, a lot of um, like safety checks to make sure that you actually treat it, that you actually have a proper number. So like being able to reason that you know for sure that there won't be any noise or illegal stuff in there. Um, the actual parsing, once you get to that point, probably is something like this, right? Let's see, Steve. The parse methods do the same math, but they use format providers to handle lots of validity checks we don't need here. Yeah, okay. That was what I was trying to reason about. Like, okay, this is probably similar to what it does. So it just bypasses the safety checks. Let's see, I know parse will accept strings with white spaces like E, sure. So it must be more logic. Yeah. Yep. Now I'm just wondering, like, if there are so many special instructions in CPUs, right? And oftentimes, for highly specialized stuff that is done frequently, there will be ways to improve even over something like this. But I was like, okay, if I would have this exact stuff, what would be the most efficient way to go from a text representation into a decimal representation? And this is fairly clean. So I was like, okay, what other ways are there even to do this? But there's so much that I still don't know, and so many tricks that people use that I couldn't say definitively that there is a better way than this. But yeah, it makes sense that this is just similar to how they do it, and you just improve over the string parse or the actual string-based parser by shortcutting out some of the validations, because you know you don't need to do them. So you could actually write your own, because like this is the thing that I talked about before with cognitive load. This always takes a bit more time to process, at least for me, to process, okay, what's going on. And I recognize a pattern of what's happening here. So Steve says the optimization you get here from the just-in-time compiler is 2 left shifts and an add. Okay. Start next empty column, perform ops. Okay. So I know it's really silly, but every time I see something like this, my mind goes to like, okay, so every iteration I have to do this conditional. Well, we already know this before we start. And I always think like, okay, what is the most efficient way? And then I realize that probably the compiler already figured out a branching path here so that it doesn't do this every time. Um, but it's weird that your mind goes to things like that, right? Like trying to optimize stuff that you know in the end it doesn't even matter. But it's fun. At least I think it's fun sometimes to think about that. Do you do this differently, Steve? Because that's something that I try to, like, if there's an if statement that goes down the line that you can reason about earlier, sometimes I will just make sure that I branch earlier into a code path that just takes all those things for granted. And but that also means different kinds of code duplication, and yeah. It's always a fun trade-off, and I haven't found the perfect way to do it yet. Let's see, part 2. Do this time. Okay. Let's see, the CPU's branch predictor will do its best, but this is a data-dependent branch, so difficult to predict. One possible optimization the GAT can do is to emit a C move instead of a branch if neither have any side effects. Okay. Well, the data never gets touched, right? Pretty sure it should be able to tell that this never changes because it's set earlier, it's set here. Yeah. Compilers are pretty cool. What was I doing? I was checking this part here. What this is, I just didn't see how to branch early without making two complete loops, one for add and one for null. Yeah, but that was what I was saying before. Like it's always a trade-off. So. Yeah, Steve says if it's written in a way that the branch can always go one way, the branch predictor will name it. Yeah, so you're good there. Okay. This is basically to this just skips all the white space ones and then adds them. Yeah, it's fine. Let's see. So having said that, sometimes the benchmark can surprise you when you remove benching opportunities. Yeah, I mean, trying to outsmart the compiler doesn't always end well. I know that. Yeah, basically that's the parsing there. Ooh, that's fast. I haven't run a bench for mine, but yeah. Let's see. Python. I'm always surprised when I write blocks of code bigger than myself, and then I see Python and it's like a few lines. Sure. This is basically like the split by ASCII thing, and then it uses a pop to get the last row off of the thing. I like this. It's so silly, but it's so simple, and it's the same for like having the directional moves, right? Like having all the 8 neighbors, just going like -1, 0, 1 in a loop, do it again, and then if you're at 0, 0, continue, and then it's yeah. I like reading Python for its simplicity and its clarity sometimes, which is weird because there are barely any types and you can do all sorts of weird stuff. But maybe it's the person who writes it as well. But yeah, I can appreciate Cheese 2000's solution a lot, at least most of the days. So what did they do for part 2? Is that more difficult? Okay, it's somewhat more difficult. Let's see. Okay, it does the same. It tries to find these. Only the thing that I did was try to find the next part where it stops, but that doesn't matter, I think. Boom, 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 boom. Ah, okay. So it inserts a pipe there to make it. That's funny. What does this do? Let's see. Hmm. Okay. This is a fun. Yeah, I just realized I just like how some things are done in Python. It seems to be so much more straightforward sometimes. Let's see. Cephalopod math. I like the thematic naming. SMAP also does that a lot. I like it. Let's see. Total sum, math problem. Inputted select, split on sure, remove the empties. Bum, 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 bum. Multiply strings, add strings. Sure. Next column. RTL sum, okay. A null string. Is this the default? So you don't have any one of the valid ones here. Let me see. Char, blah blah blah. Is last row. Sure. Actually, let's have the last row. Okay. Yep. Nice. The same non-parse way of parsing. Nice. So what did you guys think of today's problem? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Day 4 gives me shame. Let's see. Yeah. I need to. I don't have it optimized yet. Miss ECR as well. Nice. Lots of people joined. Nice. I like everybody sharing their code. There's always something new to learn. Martin says it was okay, but nothing to write home about. Honestly, yeah. Like this was a purely parsing problem. So. Crazy Wolf says, I don't know, it was easy compared to the situation that it's basically data. Yeah, yeah. And Luke keeps saying, like, I don't think there will be another Advent of Code next year because, like, the stories aren't as elaborate and the difficulty hasn't ramped up properly. And you know, I hope that's not the case. Maybe he wants to make sure that he doesn't lose a lot of people early on, because it's like last days. But I actually, for being weekend, I expected something more difficult. I mean, the parsing was a bit tedious, so maybe he was like, okay, I'll do that on in the weekend, and maybe tomorrow we get something crazy. But Crazy Will said, I did 2018 day 12 today afterwards, and it felt crazy. Okay, what is now? I want to know. Events 2018. I haven't done 2018 day 12. Okay, let's see. Subterranean sustainability. A long tunnel. Dots. Initial state. Okay, for okay, yeah, this already reads a lot a lot more difficult. Is this a game of life type of thing? I didn't read it properly, but looks fun. Let's see. I use span 2D for day 4 from the high performance community toolkit. Nice and quick. What's the high performance community toolkit? I never heard of that. Community toolkit at high performance contains helpers and extensions to work in high performance scenarios. This package can be installed through NuGet for multi targets. You can use it from anything from European language. Sure. Games in Unity. Okay. The high performance package contains a set of APIs that are heavily focused on optimization. I know a few people who are like that, wink wink. All the new APIs have been carefully crafted to achieve the best possible performance when using them, either through reduced memory allocation, micro optimizations at the assembly level, or by structuring the APIs in a way that facilitates writing performance-oriented code in general. Okay. Nineberry says, for yesterday, I used solution from day 20 in 2016. Earlier days were generally easier. Same solution for day 20 as for day 5 this year. Okay. The helper functions for span2D are awesome, like instantly getting a column with a method call, comparable to how F# can use 2D arrays. Okay. Crazy Wolf said, yeah, you need to calculate states of a map for a certain amount of rounds, and in part 2 up to an insane number. Yeah, okay. So that's where you have to figure out some stuff and find like patterns you don't actually have to do them. And I remember some of those from the past, and I'm not great at those actually. I'm always happy when I get around that and do it properly. This is interesting. I'll just drop the link here for those who want it. Talk about this on stream, just so that I have a link to it later. It might be something cool to look at. I really haven't looked at all the stuff you can do to optimize and be more efficient, and that's something that I should probably do. Like in the old days, when something new would come out for .NET, I would spend so much time just diving in, but I find I just have less and less time to do that, sadly. Though I really do enjoy these things, but I find that I'm falling behind compared to a lot of other people on these things. So what you should probably do is just submit your code every time you use it, and then I can learn from it as well. Martin said, we'll look at it for sure once we have any 2D problems with any sort of map or pathfinding. Yeah? Okay. I think we've come to sort of a natural end for the stream here. I'm gonna try and see if there's anybody doing Advent of Code that we can raid. If anybody has any suggestions or questions, now is the time to ask, because I'll be looking to find somebody else to raid. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun today to just talk about a lot of stuff, answer some questions. Thanks for the follow, Crazy Wolf. Appreciate it. Let's see who's doing Advent of Code. Boom, 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 boom. Don't think there's much Advent of Code left right now. Twilight World was doing it yesterday.
Voor maar 9,95 geniet je nu.
Let's see. Steve says, see. Question, you know if you'll do missing years after this AOC ends in a week? I don't know yet, but I will try. I'll try. Maybe we do, I'm sure we can do some. I might not be able to do it every day, but maybe we just go back to like 2016 or 2017 or 2018 and do some of these. I don't know what my calendar look like. The biggest problem I have is that I really want to do it, but I have lots of work-related stuff. I run my own company. I'm at a point where I'm releasing a new version of a CMS that I've written. So I'm short on time, but I'll be sure to do some. I'll promise you that. So yeah, I'll commit to doing some. So I think we'll rate
Just making sure we don't accidentally skip the next non-space.
like Lennis here. So let me just set up the array now and go say hi and spread some of the advent of code joy to other people.
That will be better.
So yeah, I really like spreading it around. I love when people come raid and say hi, and
That's besides
yeah, let's go and say hi to Lennis and
now.
see you again tomorrow if you're up for it. So bye bye, let's go raid. See you tomorrow.
And then we can